I don't begrudge anyone liking Boruto. Sick.
Doesn't freaking sound like
it.
it.
Like, go nuts, but I'm just like, should it have been made? I don't know. So Blue Vortex we're talking about is the Shippuden of Boruto, right?
It's more of steering the ship away than making it more darker and edgier. I think it's just making it more palatable for like people like Sam. To be honest,
they realise their audience, which is angry millennials, elder millennials who are furious.
Hello, and welcome back to Gateway to Anime. How are you all? What's going on? We are the podcast where we throw open the gates to anime and we bring you the best new animes as well as deep dive into the classics. Ever wanted to get into anime but didn't know where to start? We are the podcast for you. I'm your host, Sam. Charlie, how you going?
I'm good. Excited to be here and having a lovely, very calm debate that I don't feel any passion towards whatsoever, and I'm not going to make any enemies out of my friends at all today.
Good. Now, Graeme, how are you, my friend?
I'm on the wrong side of the table, Sam, and it's freaking me out.
It's all different because today we have a very special guest, a friend of the podcast, been on before, and we're very glad to welcome him back. We have Al Williams. Al, thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm back, baby, and ready to fight. I'm ready to lose all my friends, leave here alone in the night, walk home, doing jutsus in the night, baby.
So Al here appeared on our live action episode about 2 years back now, which is pretty
early days.
Different room.
That was like season 12 or something. It's been so long.
It's been a while. No, but Al is, of course, an actor, voiceover extraordinaire, and the two of us do a podcast very different to this one called They Might Become Giants about AFL football. For any of you Americans, you don't know whatever that means. That's okay. But Al and I, we have diverse interests. So football and anime together at last. But
which one's more popular, Sam?
Well, probably anime.
Globally, numbers-wise.
Also, I love that you were like, diversity, and it was like two of the most like classic male interests. You're like, anime and sport. And I'm like, yeah.
I also like eating food.
Charlotte, we contain multitudes, okay? Can you just...
These guys have layers.
Anyway.
Let's talk about sports anime.
Let's get into it. We're changing it up.
This whole thing was just a side swipe to get us into talking about Ayawashi or something.
Just a big move. Anyway, no, today, as we mentioned, we are having a bit of a debate. We are having the great Boruto debate. That's right. It's time to talk about the elephant in the room, that is Boruto. So before we dive into this episode any further, I want to thank this episode's sponsor, Mercari. Link is in the bio. Check it out. Ever wanted to get unique items directly from Japan? Well, you can do just that there. Check it out. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, where hopefully you are watching this podcast, but you can give us a review on Spotify. Just go and click 5 stars. Really does make a massive difference. If you're listening through Apple, give us a review. Really does help. If you really like what we're doing, you can find us on Patreon. For as little as $1.50 a month, you get early releases, special episodes, and behind-the-scenes footage. And the Gateway to Anime Awards are about to happen for 2024. This will be the 3rd time we've done them, and it's a really exciting time. And for those of our patrons, you will be helping us pick the nominees. So head on over to Patreon, help us out. Really does make a massive difference. It's time to talk about Boruto. Now, before we start that, all of us here are huge Naruto fans, obviously. Got us in, right? Like, what is your actual relationship to Naruto? When did it come into you and your anime time, Alex?
I can tell you my first experience with Naruto was getting burnt discs off my friends in high school that got sort of passed around and watching it on my laptop in my room. But I think because you were either always 3 to 5 episodes ahead of someone or 3 to 5 episodes behind, depending where you were in the pecking order of the discs being passed around. It's one of those animes I grew up with and love.
I mean, it's one of the absolute cornerstones. It was my gateway, Charlie's gateway. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless you count sort of Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, but no, it was the thing that really turned me into what I would call a capital A anime fan, right? It was the thing I was like, oh, this is the thing, right? And it's taken me through my whole life, obviously, wearing a shirt for those of you watching. But basically, it's just one of those things that holds a really special heart, especially in the Western fandom, because it's massive in Japan, right? But like obviously One Piece is the undisputed king of everything, number one selling manga of all time. It's approaching Superman as the biggest selling comic of all time.
Wow.
I'm sure it's past it.
It's close, I think, but it's not quite there yet. But it's so,
In core of the time, 25 years?
100%, yeah, exactly.
Almost 80, 90 years for Superman to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. So obviously that's the big boy. But in the West, Naruto is bigger and has more of a presence in both the US and Australia. UK, who cares? But I don't know, I didn't check that stat.
It's very popular. Anyway, continue.
It's like whenever I hear someone talk about how they got into anime, it's like no one has like a unique experience in their life ever. And you want to feel special, then you're like, oh, we all did that with the discs and we all got excited at the same time. So it's like, it just seems like a pretty shared
I
experience.
was the one creating the discs. I
I
learned to pirate media through Naruto, just trying to find those crunchy subs. Like, I fed the UK that loves Naruto those pirated discs.
I think the discs was the first time that I got like anime suggested by other people to me.
Yeah.
The rest of it was whatever was on late night, Bubblegum Crisis, NG, that kind of stuff. And then whatever you could sort of scrounge together at the video store, which were always kind of quite dark or
VHS
odd.
tapes of violent jack and pornography. On the same tape.
So I think Naruto for me was the first kind of like fun actiony anime apart from DBZ that sort of got us in and kind of kept us for, what is almost a decade, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
And more.
I get caught on TikTok watching full
Yeah.
run-throughs of the bloody thing. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's the sort of thing that, like, if I was to ever to have a kid, I'd watch Naruto with them. You know what I mean? It'd be one of those things I'd want to do and like have that formative experience. So give them that formative
Dad,
experience.
not again.
Not again. Watch it if you like it or not. It's good. It's good. The show sucks. Like, get out.
I want to watch Boruto. Get out!
I cast the out.
You know, son of mine.
I want to watch real people, Dad.
Never. Not in this house.
What about Les Miserables? Get out!
All right. So let's talk then about Boruto.
Finally.
Now, Gray, I want you to lead off here because you are one of the few people I know who've read it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it? I mean, like,
What of it, mate?
well, yeah.
Yeah, you want to fight?
I mean, kind of. Like, what are your thoughts on it, mate?
Look, it's quite jarring. There's obviously a huge time skip, and all these characters you've seen as children are now, they're all older. Like, some of them are a lot older. They've got families. They're like proper adults. Like, seeing Naruto do admin work is, the Hokage is weird. And then the actual like art style is like quite different to Boruto and Shippuden as well. I don't know if I like it and I don't know if I hate it. It's just somewhere in the middle because these are characters that I've loved and I've grown up with. And it's continuing their story. So I'm like, oh, I love this. But then there's just some aspects about it that I don't enjoy. Like, I don't enjoy like the scientific ninja tools aspects to it, but I understand why they're in there as like a plot device. I don't like Boruto,
Well,
but I understand why I don't like Boruto because he cheats at his exam because he's looking for his father's approval and stuff like that. So there's like I'm like, fuck, I hate you, but I understand you. Like, it's quite jarring to me. I can't tell you I love it. I can't tell you I hate it.
You're ambivalent.
Yeah. I want to be so like one point or the other, but like it's evolving characters that I love, but in a way that I don't really enjoy. Like, it's such a weird makeup of a show. But
Good point.
And just for people who don't know what Boruto is,
true.
it is a spin-off series by the same mangaka and the same creator of Naruto, which follows Naruto's son, Boruto. But it's a series that kind of, when it was announced, I kind of thought it was a joke. Just because on paper, like obviously having Naruto, Boruto, is just kind of like, did someone, like, is it a joke?
his dad was Minato, the greatest Hokage.
Let's not
It
get
did
into
sort of
this one
sound like they
again.
were releasing, Naruto from Timu kind of vibe when it first came out. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And I kind of went, surely that's a joke, right? Like, let it lie for a bit. But then at the same time, I was intrigued because I went, oh, I just love these characters so much. I have so much time. I want to know what they're doing. The issue is I just don't care about any of the new characters. And I just want to know about all of the old
Yeah.
characters.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can see why it was released. And I think that like now we'll get into this, but just so people know what we're talking about this new series. It's a manga, obviously, an anime adaptation. And it's had a bit of a mixed reception, I would say.
Yeah, it popped off. So for context about sort of production and who is behind it and whatnot. So it began as an anime film in 2015 called Boruto, ellipses, Naruto, the movie. It's a direct sequel, obviously, from the Naruto manga and was written by Masashi Kishimoto and Yukio Kodachi. This is an interesting point. So it was actually the highest grossing film of the Naruto franchise, but of course that's not so crazy to think because
They're rubbish.
they're all non-canon, like cash grab, and it was before the whole film thing went canon and changed.
Do you reckon it
like,
made more money than Akatsuki the musical? Because I don't know about that. Because I did see that in the cinema, so my money went towards that musical.
Well, as it should have. Was it
Yes.
good?
Fantastic. Empty cinema. Me having the time of my life.
So home media sales actually made it one of Japan's best-selling releases of 2016, that movie. So like it did have quite a big, obviously there's a lot of talk about it when it was coming out in 2016, a lot of debate amongst the community because it was like, as you said, kind of feels like a derivative cash grab. So initially Shueisha, the publishing company, approached Kishimoto to spearhead Boruto, but he actually refused, but proposed that his former assistant, Mikio Ikimoto, illustrate in his stead. Ikimoto had been assisting him on Naruto for many, many years. So Kishimoto's co-writer of that film, Yukio Kodachi, took over as the main writer. And he wrote for the manga series and was also the story supervisor for the first 216 anime episodes from 2017 to 2020. But Kishimoto has since retaken it over. He now writes the manga and is supervising on the anime. But to go to your point on the sciencey tech stuff, Kodachi's father is a physician, and that was the inspiration for all the scientific tech stuff. And he was also heavily inspired by sci-fi role-playing games. So
Yeah, look, I don't hate it. For me, there's such a huge leap in technology in the show, and
Yes.
like even like culturally as well. Like there's a scene where Naruto's on a chat show.
Yeah,
Like, this is
oh,
quite.
yeah, there is too.
I mean, I love that.
I mean, like I do as well. Like, but I had to step back and go, well, this is quite strange. But then I kind of think of it as like when Japan had to like rapidly industrialize.
That's exactly what
And
the
that's
point
what
they're
that's-
making. But I also feel like
But
Naruto has always had these really silly moments.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of
Yeah.
feel like it's a similar jump that you get between, Airbender and Korra, where all of a sudden there's, they're airbending and the bending has turned into sport.
Yeah, yeah,
They use it
yeah.
for that. They've got cars. They've got all sorts of things. I remember watching the first few episodes of Korra and just being like, what is going on? This isn't the world.
Yeah.
And then, after you watch a few
I
Naruto
think
chat
there's-
shows, you start to get a little bit used
Yeah,
to it.
there's more of a-
Ninja Conan.
I don't know.
There's more of a time jump between Korra and Avatar, right? Like,
Well, it feels like there's like 50 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, but this is what 14 years, and they went from like
11 even. Like,
Yeah, but the
They've-
village got destroyed about 3 times in
I get
Naruto.
it,
So,
I get
I
it.
mean,
They
they've
had
got to
to-
build
I guess
somehow.
it's like the original series was so focused on like ninjutsu and stuff, and then in the first few chapters of Boruto, you've got cyborgs,
Yeah.
and I was just like, oh, that's too far.
I
for me,
love the
really.
idea of like having to, adapt to technology and weaponry in that regard.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool idea, but I agree. It just felt too just like all of a sudden
It was just
this
too
is
quick.
it. And I was like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
cool. And-
Personally, I loved how Boruto cheats.
Oh yeah,
I think it's
Yeah,
great
yeah, no,
because
I think
he's
it's good
not
too.
he's not Naruto. He's
Hmm.
not this kind of left in the dirt. He's a genius.
He's a Nepo baby.
He's a Nepo baby and a genius. He's incredibly skilled and incredibly intelligent.
Yeah.
I mean, he's Sasuke with Naruto's kind of
Hair.
strength. But I think it's a really fun kind of generational. I never have a problem with TV shows that I love doing spin-offs and other
Yeah.
series. You don't lose the initial series. You don't lose
No, totally.
friends
No, totally.
when you create Joey. Yes, Joey's not great, but you don't lose friends. You can always go back and watch it. So for me, I found kind of some of the replacement characters, the kids that are clearly just their parent. Like
Such a
Shippuden,
Rock Lee.
Shikamaru's son.
yeah,
Metal-
Rock Lee,
Metal
Metal Lee.
I liked how I think they even improved on his character. They gave him a character flaw. Rock Lee he's just that guy. He's just inspirational. He just has that kind of do or die attitude. While the son, Metal Lee, has
so good.
he has performance anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's more, they've thought about it. They've actually developed that character a little further. I actually like Shikadai more than I like Shikamaru, who was my favorite player.
Wow.
Really?
I mean, with parents like that, he's got the best parents.
Yeah, he's got good parents.
He gets more time.
He
gets
doesn't
more play
smoke
time.
as well. Like, yeah.
If you just squint, it's kind of watching the same show. I really enjoyed it. How I got into watching it initially, because when I saw it, I had the same reaction as Charlie did, where I was just kind of like, what is this nonsense? And it was only from, clips of the fights on social media that I was like, hang on, does this go hard? Is this good? And so I started watching it kind of just like, I'll give it a few episodes. And then, you're 50 in. And then you're looking up, okay, that's clearly filler episode. You've already been trained by Naruto to smell out filler episode.
This is true.
So you just skip all of that. And I kind of thought, well, where else were they going to go if it wasn't, the aliens and then the cyborgs? They had to power creep.
Yeah.
So I kind of like where they've taken it. It's gone from small beginnings, tiny little bits and bobs, which they do start Boruto with that, with the school and whatnot. And then it just ramps up really, really quickly. So you're back to the Naruto Shippuden kind of zones of power.
Yeah, maybe I'm being too harsh on that.
I think I tried to watch it and I was actually kind of like excited because I think that I similar thing. I was like, well, better than no Naruto. You know what I mean? I was like, bit of a, I like to see what my peeps are up to later in life, like how they go as parents. Not great by the sounds of it, but there we go.
Well, Naruto, yeah. And Sasuke.
Sasuke's an absent father.
But
we love
time,
her.
waits for no man. Responsibilities. It is heavy on the shoulders, I mean, like, I feel like this show is basically the, it's the story of Bronny James. It's the story of the next generation kid that everyone wants to be great.
That kid needs ninja tools.
Exactly. I can't wait till we find out he's an android. He can never really live up to the expectation of his father.
Yeah.
While Naruto never really. Didn't know he had someone to live up to. It turns out he did. But, it's a very different kind of start. And I understand why people think he's so annoying because they've watched the first 20 to 30 episodes.
But Naruto was annoying as well.
Very.
He was.
Yeah,
Very.
but now, unfortunately, we love him so much that one thing I struggled with was I think that storytelling-wise, starting them really young in the school didn't interest me that much. So like just them going to the academy, which is like blasphemy for me to say I didn't enjoy some kind of like magical ninja school. I just didn't. I don't think the school in Naruto is interesting, or that world, the universe. Because they're really young, and then the best schooling is the school of life, which is when they go exactly where they go with the.
What about the tuning exams?
That's after the school. That's what I mean. It gets better after when they leave
when
and they're doing their what's it called, like traineeship or their placement.
The very first,
Their placement, I would say. That's great. But the actual school, the academy.
It sucks.
Yeah, because they're quite young and it's like they're not. Yeah, Boruto. I liked that he was a bit shit. Like I liked that he cheated. That's really great. Just an issue when I found myself just defending Naruto. He'd be like, "Dad's lame." And I'm like, "You take that back. Like we went through hell and back together. Like, that's my boy. Like why?" And then even though I get it, like Naruto probably in canon would be a pretty shit dad. Like he's not prepared for that. Like it's maybe he is.
When everyone wants a piece of your father because they're the leader, guess what?
Is there like a plot line of him, like he always sends his shadow clones to do things? And that's like, I love that. That is so like, Dad, you sent one of your shadow clones again to my graduation. Like, geez.
It doesn't hug me the same.
Like, I kind of see, and also, it's kind of fascinating because obviously we're really interested in the main three characters of Boruto are obviously Boruto Sarada, is that her name? Is that Sasuke and Sakura's daughter, who's awesome. I thought she was really cool. Yeah. I like that character. And then the third character whose name escapes me, I'm so sorry. Mitsuki. And what's his vibe? Is he Orochimaru's son?
Kind of?
Yeah.
Clone-esque.
Yeah, I mean.
Chakra clone
that's fair.
thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Was that a spoiler?
Because the manga starts with him like as a breaking into like a research center. And you're like, well, this character's really cool. And then nothing happens with him for like so long. So I don't know.
And he's potentially sort of replaced a few times. He's the Rei Ayanami of this story. Let's just sort of say that. But he has this inherent power that is, too powerful for his body, basically. Another one. They're all just stacked power-wise. Like Sarada is just like, you're just waiting for her to, in I think Blue Vortex, just kind of go to the next level. I haven't read Blue Vortex.
Blue Vortex is really
I'm assuming
good.
she'll almost take over.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
Well, we just want to take this opportunity to thank our episode sponsor, Mercari. Mercari is an online marketplace where you can choose where you shop from. That if you choose Japan, you can find some of the most interesting items directly from Japan.
It's super easy. You just head to Mercari.com and then you go to Shop the Drop. You can change the region here to say Japan. That's how you know that all the items you're looking at are actually from Japan. And then you can shop a wide range of things, including anime, manga, collectibles, any items you want directly from Japan. Just shop the drop. Check it out, Mercari.com. Thank you so much for sponsoring. Link is in the bio.
So Blue Vortex we're talking about is the Shippuden of
Boruto.
Right? It's the continuation. There was a stop, and it's interesting with the numbers, right? So April 2023, it sort of finished Boruto, the Naruto equivalent, the first part of the story. Second part, to Blue Vortex, began in August 2023, so it's quite new. It's quite new.
And it's a monthly syndication.
It is all monthly. Yes, that is absolutely always has been. So at Manga Volume 9 of Boruto, it switched from Shonen Jump to V Jump. And it actually lost nearly half its audience when it did that. And as a result, the sales have actually been rather precipitously dropping. Now, this is only physical copies. Well, in 2018, for the first time, digital manga downloads took over from physical copies. So it's actually quite hard for them to track what is doing as well as they used to. But the physical copies have dropped very significantly since its debut. Like I was looking at a graph before, and it's like it just does that, right? It's like a full steep decline. So
You would
interesting.
think that downloads would be easier to track than
'cause
physical
it's a
copies.
count.
Well, I think it was because you have an app and
The
you can just
app,
you can
yeah.
access anything on the app.
Oh, I see.
So it's like a sort of a strand. They're all there. You don't actually download them.
And they do have
physically.
like 5 apps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
right.
lots of apps. That's how
Right,
much harder to
so many
aggregate,
apps.
apparently. But I'm sure they'll figure out a way to do so.
Was
but-
Boruto a weekly?
No,
So it's
Naruto
always-
was.
Yeah,
Boruto
okay.
was always monthly.
Right, okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
But it's interesting because I think for me it's one of those weird things. It's a bit like The Simpsons still going, right? And my argument for that is like I watch this thing now and I watch The Simpsons in like season 29 or whatever the hell it is. And I'm watching this thing where I'm like, hey, this looks like that thing I used to love, but it sucks. Why is this not funny?
Rose
what I
tinted
mean? Like-
glasses, Sam, because
Yeah.
I didn't grow up watching The Simpsons, right?
Right,
So
okay.
I watch The Simpsons now and I'm like, oh yeah, it's an episode of The Simpsons. Then I go back and watch the classic episodes of The Simpsons and I go, yeah, it's an episode of The Simpsons with worse animation. So, like I just
Yeah.
think you're sort of coloured by, you're obviously growing up and loving this show, which
Yes,
I
I am.
did as well. I had
Yes.
the same thing. And there was a bit at the start of going like, look, it's not the same.
Yes.
But it's not far away, There's as much sort of trash in Naruto as there is in Boruto. For me.
True.
So I think the gems of it, the fights, where they've taken the story, just in the anime itself,
Fights are great.
has been actually really fascinating. Like it's a clever way to sort of continue outside of the ninja world and give a story to how they all had powers in the first place. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I just think, that like, because the storyline to me didn't get me as much as Naruto did. So I'm kind of like, I'm arguing this point. But I think the only time I drop back into Boruto, which is like where I think it's actually a good thing it does exist, is whenever I hear like, I'm such a basic bitch, it's actually like, oh, the Team 7 are doing something together. And I'm like,
They're doing stuff.
go watch it. I'm like, oh, they're all there together. Like that's, that'll get me in, but only for that clip, or I'm like, oh wow, like we've got a, Kurama, that stuff, like
I watched that
all
and I
that
wept,
stuff,
obviously, but
so I'm glad it does
That was-
exist.
Yeah.
So we have closure on some things like that and some emotion, but to me, it just sort of is there to just occasionally remind me of why I love Naruto, and that's kind of it. Like I don't think it hasn't held me enough, but all I'm hearing is that this time skip Shippuden kind of version sounds kind of cool. And I think maybe it's more to do with my lack of like interest in the academy and then being young and those characters. And now they're a bit more older and it's a bit more edgy. I could get on board with it a bit more. I don't know. And
I think you might be right because I only started watching Boruto when I found out that Blue Vortex
All right.
was coming out. Because I went, oh, there's going to be because I love Shippuden way more than I love Naruto.
I fully disagree. But yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's when it gets serious because Naruto is just kind of them faffing around till they get to the, they get the power.
I mean,
Which might say something about me, but it is one of those things where I went, oh, this is going to go somewhere. I need to know the ramp up, right? And then that got me into it. And I went, okay, this is actually quite
Yeah.
fun. So yeah, maybe it's. I
can't say anything.
I
I can't say anything. Like,
Pardon?
I can't say anything. I won't spoil any Blue Vortex, but it's a lot of fun. At the end of Boruto, they really twist the world against Boruto as well. So he's kind of left like as a pariah, and he has to grow up really fast and deal with the world as it is.
Which is a cool like swap in terms of character
Yeah.
arc between Naruto having that at the start of his story, and then and then Boruto coming in as a nepo baby,
Yeah,
as a nepo
baby.
kid, and then having
Yeah.
it all kind of like
One of
think that's
many
interesting.
nepo babies.
I mean, Naruto
go
was
here,
as well,
though.
technically.
Well,
He didn't know.
I didn't
but-
know. It wasn't treated as such.
No, but I think, yeah, I like the idea of, and this sounds really stupid, but like the idea of parenting with Sasuke and Naruto, and I think from where I was in Boruto.
Oh, there's no parenting done by
No, I know.
Especially not Sasuke.
Not Sasuke.
He does nothing.
Yeah.
I have to go on a mission. What's the mission? I can't tell you.
Yeah, he's also like, I must
entire arc.
kind of build up my clan again by not teaching my daughter anything. You know?
Classic. I feel like, is it kind of, am I wrong in saying they've sort of swapped as like Boruto's like hero or idolizes Sasuke
Yeah.
more than Naruto, and Sarada like idolizes Naruto, and she's the one that wants to be Hokage. Is that her storyline?
Yeah,
She's like, I
pretty
want
much,
to be
yeah.
the Hokage,
Yeah.
which I love. I don't know. That's interesting to me. I'm not surprised that Sasuke's an absent father. He was, yeah, he really,
But like
we've
he
talked about
goes
this.
so
Sakura
far of his
deserves-
way to be absent as
Yeah.
well. Like
He's so dour.
just so dour.
Sakura
so
deserves
emo.
so much better than that,
Oh, yeah.
man. Like, what is she
100%.
doing?
Sasuke sucks,
Oh, he sucks.
bro. Like, worst
It's cool when he
character.
shows up, but it sucks.
Yeah.
You're
But
like,
I
oh,
mean,
it's
like,
But he
also
does that
how-
forehead tap thing, and then it's like,
So, but that's Itachi is everything that Sasuke is, but 10,000 times better. So it's like,
Yeah.
anyway, I can't stand Sasuke as a character. He's terrible. But
Yeah, but he's so cool.
that's the problem.
He's
It's
got a
cool.
cape now.
It's
got a
cool.
cape. He's got a
as
cape.
yeah.
fuck.
Honestly, if
still
I
got a
was
sword.
Sakura, I'd probably fold as well. I'd be like, yeah, let's do it.
There is a
Let's,
great
like,
moment where Sarada is sort of training, and then Sakura comes out, and there's this great moment where she kind of realizes that her mum is a badass.
Oh, yeah.
And teaches her kind of this, obviously her how to hit,
Yep,
how to hit properly. And it's a really cool moment of a child looking at their parent who they thought wasn't
The lame parent?
the lame parent, and being like, oh, you're a badass, and sort of gaining respect. I thought that was one of my favorite moments.
I do like seeing often with the kids in this way, like how they combine sort of like, lineages of like different kind of abilities and things like that and make them into one. So it's like, obviously for Sarada, she's got like Sakura had incredible chakra control. That was her whole thing, right? And like she was really fucking smart. So that combined with like the
Sharingan.
like all of the Uchiha stuff
yeah.
is like gonna be, but like who's more scary? Boruto with the fucking Hinata, like the Byakugan, is that
No,
what
he
it is?
doesn't have
Yeah.
the.
Doesn't have to be Akagan.
But he does his sister.
His little sister's got it.
I
yeah.
bet I hope she comes up. I hope she comes out and is
I'm
like
guessing
way
she
better than
will be
everyone.
Very good.
She's very good in Blue Vortex. Like,
Because I was like, that's
probably the most
okay.
interesting. In
No,
Blue Vortex.
Really?
Boruto has a Jogan or Yogan,
Yogan.
which is I can never say the name. The
Ototsuki?
Totsuki.
Totsuki.
It's a different eye. It's one of their eyes that no one else kind of has. So he's awakened one of those.
They pretty much have like parasites that sort of transform you into them.
Ah.
And he's sort of like, that's where his big power boost is when he loses control. That kind of like Karama takes him over as a malevolent spirit. So that sort of cool tattoo you see in the eye and the horn, that's the Okatsuki taking over.
So
Oh,
they
cool.
can never kind of die because
Yeah.
they implant their karma into different host bodies and then eventually just rewrite
Become-
them
yeah.
and become them and basically continue to, reinvent themselves into all these different forms.
Can he do Rasengan or is he a complete failure?
He does it in
can,
like
great.
the first
Oh no,
5
No,
seconds.
it's a freak. He can do it.
Good.
He just does it,
Immediately.
yeah.
It's giving like go 10, go fucking
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
you're
But
like,
he does,
doing,
like-
doing Super Saiyan immediately.
He does
You
like
get that feeling in
invisible
the back
ones
of
and
your
stuff.
head.
Like he has his modified one, so he does like invisible Rasengans. So people will just get like smashed across the room and they're like, what the hell happened? And he's using
disappears.
an invisible Rasengan. Like,
See, this happened last time this came up on this podcast. We talked about it and I was like, I'm gonna watch it and they go and I'm like, I hate this. Like you said, like the idea is great. Like it's just like not well executed to be, unfortunately. And maybe it's just I don't have patience for like a certain pace of anime these days. I don't know. But yeah, I love seeing like, we got Konohamaru, who's kind of hot now. It was weird. He grew up.
he did.
Is he their teacher? Is he their
Yeah.
like, yeah, see, that's great. See, I love that. That's cool.
The thing is, what's interesting about it is it's obviously trading in nostalgia, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's obviously derivative as fuck. It's literally deriving from an earlier IP, and of course it's classic shonen. So like it's the epitome of derivative. But I guess the thing is, it's one of those questions which like we always talk about with like subs versus dubs in English, Japanese. I'm always like, well, hey, if you have an issue with subtitles and you know it means the difference between watching anime and not, watch a dub, no problem. If it means a difference of like getting a new generation into Naruto and therefore anime and whatnot, great, awesome. But the problem is, there's so much better stuff out there now. Naruto obviously was an incredible thing for what it was at its time, but obviously you look back and it's dated, And Boruto is still trading in this sort of world, in this mathematics of storytelling. And you're right, it's a different pace because it's monthly, but it still has that sort of energy and rhythm of an ongoing show as opposed to the seasonal system that we have now. So I look at it and I'm just like, cool. It's great that, yes, we still get to, and I watch all those YouTube clips too. As soon as Sasuke and Naruto fought Kishimoto. No, Kishimoto's the creator.
That was a wicked episode.
They went meta, man. Who was it?
I can't remember.
Whatever. That famous fight, with the Otsutsuki early days. That was awesome. I watched that stuff. My Jugen, those,
Jugen,
Jugen, that stuff's cool. What Naruto was in its early days, which I love so much, it was a fucking ninja show about ninja and chakra and all these like cool powers, and then it became a fucking mecha show, and now it's like these people from the fucking moon and like and androids, and now it's like that's all of what Boruto is, and I'm like, you took all the stuff I didn't like and made a show out of it.
Yeah, I feel like it spiraled out of control. Even the end of Naruto, you were kind of off, and then you got it again.
Nah, you guys just sound like kind of Gen,
old millennial.
Gen at this point.
You sound like boomers talking to Gen Zs about their show. It used to be. You sound like old, depressed Naruto doing his paperwork. Just enjoy the show. It wasn't how it was in my day. It's pretty much the same show.
But that's also the problem.
What I will say though, I'm interested to know, I would love to hear from somebody who watched Boruto without watching Naruto.
That'd be interesting.
I would love to see that, because I think like, is it a show that can stand up by itself in its own right? Or is it literally just like, we're happy it's here because the people who are big, huge Naruto fans get to still sometimes wade into a world that they're not quite ready to let go of.
Yes.
So that's the appeal of it, right?
Yeah, that's the appeal, yeah.
Okay. I totally see
interesting
that.
You guys haven't waded in.
I tried.
I tried.
When it first came out, I watched maybe the first 20, 30 episodes.
Yeah. Right.
And by that point, I just went, because also, to go back to your point, it's like, it's not necessarily that it's like, back in my day. It's more that like, it's stuck back in my day. But it's now, look, watch Jujutsu Kaisen, it's way better. Like go and watch a more modern show, go and watch Dan, go and watch shows that are actually like, modern and progressive, moving things forward, and are more interesting than what Boruto was, because Boruto is trying to throw back to a time which has passed. And yes, it's trading on the nostalgia, and yes, God, I love watching Naruto do stuff every time he does. Sick. But I'm like, is it time we move on from this?
But Naruto's for 12 to 13, 14-year-old boys.
You take that back.
Well,
about that.
That's what, and so is this. So I'm like,
true.
you can't really compare it to JJK and
But that's a shonen. But JJK is also a shonen. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
but I don't know if the
The world's
demo's
a
the
dark
same.
place now.
There's
There's men eating fingers.
I mean, it's right, but even
He's
put it
the
up
hero.
But even put up against My Hero Academia or something like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's probably a better analysis point.
Yeah, sure.
So, like, I mean, My Hero Academia has its problems, but like, I do watch that over Boruto by choice every time. Like, because I was just like, well, this is better. I don't begrudge anyone liking Boruto. Sick.
Doesn't
go nuts.
freaking sound like
Like,
it.
go nuts. But I'm just like, should it have been made? I don't know.
I mean, there's no harm in
It's a
it
cash
being
grab.
made. And it's like, I think that I actually really hope, and I remember hearing when I heard about this, is it Blue Vortex it's called?
Yeah.
I went, could this be like the ultimate like win, where it's like we've got this Boruto, everyone's making fun of it, and that just turns into this like hectic, amazing, like dark, incredible, and it's like the best of all of them, because I would welcome that with open arms. When I heard about some of the things that were happening, I was like, could this really be like an even bigger spin than Shippuden? You know what I mean? Like, could it be even darker at the times? And they'd be clever if they did that. It's like a nostalgia grab. Everyone's like, oh, cute, like blah blah, and then it goes. Bah.
I feel
So
like
that
it's
made
more of a
sense.
correction of like a course correction
Yeah.
than anything else. Like, it feels like Kishimoto coming on board and go, well, that didn't really work, so let's change that. Let's take that and put it over here. I think it's more of steering the ship away than making it more darker and edgier.
Yeah.
I think it's just making it more palatable for like people like Sam. To be honest,
They realised their audience was just angry millennials. Elder millennials who are furious.
So
The thing is, I don't actively should okay, when I was like, should it have been made? I don't know. I mean, that's too harsh. But it's like, and do I really care that people watch it? No, not at all. But like,
it's an interesting question.
You kept coming over to my house and turning my TV off. So.
Every time I was watching Boruto.
Because I guess like something that's kind of similar in Western animation is like Western media is kind of like where Star Wars has ended.
Exactly.
Because they sort of remade the original trilogy in 2015 with The Force Awakens.
Great films.
Yeah, fine.
Oh, they're coming for us on this episode. The comment section.
Terrible.
But like you've seen where like they've trodden on that same path and like where they've sort of found themselves is kind of spent of originality and nostalgia can only get you so far, and then like,
No new ideas.
too many cooks in the kitchen, and then is that what's happened with Boruto? Will we get a prequel Minato series? Like,
I think I'd watch that. But yeah.
I did find the first 20 to 30 episodes. It was slow going at the start. I will say it was tough to get through that first little section, and I was kind of cringing a fair bit, especially at the academy kind of early days.
Yeah.
Why is the bug guy the teacher? Sorry, what's his name?
He's sort of been,
She's also the most underutilized character, and also so broken when they first introduced him. Like this guy's invincible, dude. And then
but
Kishimoto's
someone
like,
invented
ignore him.
bug spray probably somewhere in his first mission.
I was going to say, this technology's not been kind to him at all.
Those electric.
hard. He's seen these kind of monsters, these demons. They're all broken. They've rebuilt their village too. And they're all, they're exhausted. They've got 50 years put on them, and they're all about 30. So they're feeling the weight of it. I think.
Yeah, it just makes me think like if Shino had all that power, like what was up with Iruka Sensei? Like what was his jutsu? What was his
very
background?
basic, wasn't he? What was his special?
He was
skill?
kind, okay? He was an inspirational
He could
teacher.
throw kunai, okay? Back when Naruto made fucking sense.
That's it.
He was a fucking ninja.
Watch me throw this kunai.
But I would take him as a elementary school teacher over Shino any day of the
Yes.
fucking
Weird
week.
bug guy, yeah.
I
You all
go,
got bugs? No, I can't teach you anything.
we're done.
Oh boy.
I guess we're done here.
History. Ugh.
How do you think Blue Vortex will go? Do you think it's just more of the same, like with a slightly harder edge, or like?
I think it piqued a lot of people's interest. It sort of made me reevaluate Boruto. It
Yep.
made me pick up the manga again, and made Alex watch the show. Like, I mean, it's doing its job. I just don't know what the shelf life is on it. It's kind of got that Dragon Ball Z thing, kind of power creep and sort of
Yes.
how big can you go before it's too big for the world? If they can keep it grounded, they can focus on characters and keep developing that side of the world. Like, I'll read it happily for a while. When they start like cracking continents or blowing up moons and stuff, and like with like power creep, I'm out. You're so far away from ninjas and
Yes. Yes.
cool fights. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It is-
Sustainability, I guess, is what I'm kind of
Yeah.
out of it.
Got to focus on character.
Yeah.
And they've set up relationships
Yeah.
quite well in it.
Well, I think the relationship with Boruto and Kawaki,
Yeah.
it's fascinating. So
Loving it.
they kind of had to like twist it at the end, like what I'm saying, where they changed the world around, like just to keep that antagonistic relationship going. And I'm like, but that's a fantastic relationship. That's kind of why most people stayed around for it. So
Nostalgia fascinates me, and like fandoms obviously is something I'm really interested in. When nostalgia is so obviously sort of relied on to sell an IP and to get people, but again, like I said, if it is bringing in new people, great. But it's sort of
But isn't that most properties in the West at the moment?
Oh, the West is worse
everything
for
is
it.
just IP that they've ripped off and gone, okay, that's worth something because it's got name recognition. What's another anime that you would hate or love to see them kind of continue on from?
But specifically, like, let's talk about main characters' sons. So, like,
oh yeah,
Oh
Like-
yeah,
like-
like the kid offspring.
yeah,
shows.
like Muffy from One Piece.
Bluethy.
Luffy.
what in 2055.
Yeah, I was going to say, please, no one tell Oda about that, because just like take a break. I'm another like.
He's a opposite of rubber, so he's like a stone guy. Like,
Yeah, because what if Bleach did this? You know
well,
what I
Bleach
mean?
did
Like,
do that, right? There was that one shot after.
Bichigo?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Bleach should go. Yeah.
Bichigo.
On so many levels.
shit writes itself quick. No, I feel there was a one shot where it was his like he was out with his son who's inherited the
millions of powers
the
that she ended up with. Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's been not done, but there's something out in the world like that.
If it's a one shot, that's okay. But
Yeah.
Fruits Basket did a spin off about their kids, actually.
How was
yeah?
that?
There's a manga. Hasn't been adapted into anime.
I bought you that in Japan.
Yeah, it's called Another. I loved it. Thank you so much for the gift.
Good garbage
No, it's still good, but I think it needed more room to like. I mean, Fruits Basket's a real grower. It was a bit more like slice of lifey than the actual show. I could see how it could work, and I'm interested to see how those characters. And I was invested in those characters and their relationships, but it didn't hold me. No, unfortunately not. No one had superpowers, so I was a bit upset. That's the thing.
Where are the Zodiac?
Where are they?
Yeah.
Well, look, My Hero Academia is probably ripe for it. Like
Is it
Geku
good?
or something like that would be around.
I mean, he wouldn't have any power though, would he?
Well,
Kind of
he would
interesting.
eat his dad's hair, and he would get the power.
I don't want to spoil My Hero
I have no
Academia.
idea what's going on. Are you telling me Deku's bald?
Yeah,
They
that's
time
it.
skipped and he's bald.
We're done.
Jesus.
Oh, man. But anyway, hit us up in the comments. What do you think? Are you a Boruto fan? Do you think it's a shameless cash grab,
Should
or
we
do you think
make
it's wonderful?
Sam and Charlie watch it all on Patreon? Like 30-hour marathon?
If enough people join Patreon, if we get 30 patrons in the next 2 weeks from this release, Charlie and I will watch all of Boruto
My God,
from
I'm
start
going
to
to make
finish.
I'm going to send a link to everyone I know.
Please do.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
dead serious about this.
Okay,
Take
great.
the
Thanks,
filler
Sam,
out,
for
just
signing
watch
me up for that.
the main stuff.
Can't wait.
I wonder how long that is.
Take
Can
a
we-
minute.
Like a weekend?
Oh, no.
I don't know. Yeah. It'll be a while.
Sam and I have heaps of free time, so this is really a great way to
Yeah,
spend
it's
it.
great. Anyway, Al, thank you so much for coming in and joining us, man. Always a pleasure.
Thank you
been
for
a-
having me. Thank you for trying to tell me that the thing I like is bad.
Crap. But nicely?
I'm going to continue watching my Bronny Jr. anime. No, thanks for having me on. Love listening to the show. I have watched so many more anime due to you guys recommending it. So it's been good to listen to, and it's sort of re-engaged me. So I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very
thank
much.
you.
I appreciate that. And always appreciate you coming on. And I also love having different, respectable debates are always fun. Love them. Love it. And like I say, hit us up in the comments, your thoughts on Boruto and or Naruto, what it meant to you, and if it's still something that you're watching or if you've ignored it. Whatever. It's always interesting. Anyway, I want to thank Mercari for sponsoring this episode. Link is in the bio. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the support. Well, Charlie, Graeme, Alex, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you all for joining us for the great Boruto debate. If you like what we're doing, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or hopefully you're watching this. Otherwise, if you're listening to us on podcast platforms, give us a review and or 5 stars on Spotify. And as we said before, Patreon, we'll watch Boruto if enough of you join. So hit us up on Patreon. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. We'll catch you all next time. See you soon.